Hello everyone. Today we're going to be taking the derivative of this pretty crazy looking function, but in the process we're going to use every derivative rule that I could think of when I came up with this function. So let's do it. So like I said before, the first thing that you want to do when taking the derivative of large weird looking functions like this is you want to identify where each piece of the function is. So you want to know what your outside function is, or outside functions are, and all of your inside functions, like where those rules are going to come into play as well when you take their derivatives using the chain rule. So at first glance, it looks like our outside functions are sine of x times cosine of x. So we have a function times a function, so we're going to have a big product rule on the outside. And then plus 18, so we have the sum rule there and the constant rule there. That's just going to become 0. And then we have an x squared inside of the first function, sine of x. And e to the 4x. So we use the exponent rule and power rule again right here, and the quotient rule ultimately there, and then the natural log of x rule. So let's do it. For the product rule, we need the derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second. So the derivative of the first here is cosine. Remember, this stays the same inside, x squared. And then times the derivative of what was inside, so 2x. So that's the derivative of our first term right here in the product rule. So put that in parentheses, and then just times the second function, cosine of e to the 4x plus x squared over the natural log of x. And then we need to add to this our first function times the derivative of the second, so this whole thing. So the first is just sine of x squared. And then the derivative of the second, the derivative of cosine, the outside function, is negative sine. So minus sine of everything inside, e to the 4x plus x squared over the natural log of x. And then we need to multiply this by the derivative of everything inside. And so the derivative of e to the 4x is just 4e to the 4x. And then the quotient rule being applied here, we have the derivative of the top, so 2x, times the bottom, natural log of x, minus the top times the derivative of the bottom. So we'll have x squared times 1 over x, and all that divided by the bottom squared. All that squared. Yep. And the 18 here becomes 0 again because it's a constant, has no slope, so no derivative. And that's the derivative.